How my abusive ex-husband had to pay more than 50K. Serves you right. Welcome back to Reddit Chronicles. If you're new here, do consider subscribing to help me feed my channel and grow my cat. And if you liked the video, do kindly give it a thumbs up to help me out. Let's get started. So it's a long story. TLDR at the end. I've been thinking for a few weeks, posting here after a friend told me about the forum. First post, so I'm not sure if it's really pro-revenge, and my English is not the best, so bear with me. First of all, a long backstory about me, my a-hole of an ex-husband, and my boss. I was in an abusive relationship for over 6 years. My ex is a poor excuse of a human being, and I've learned to hate him more than anything else. I'm mad of myself till this day because it took me way too long to get out of this situation. It was not until I got pregnant that I had enough strength to escape everything, so my child had a safe home. I planned everything in secret and left without a word. I moved as far away as I could go. I deleted all my social media accounts, got a new phone number, and used my maiden name again. With the money I saved, I bought a train ticket, and I've ended up in a small and extremely friendly village. To be honest, it was just a mistake that I've been stranded here, but it was the best thing that could ever happen to me. I was desperate to get a job, but I dropped out of school and ran away with my ex when I was 16. I know, it was stupid. I had no graduation, no driver's license, and I never worked before, but I was too scared to go to Social Security office because I thought they might be giving out my new name and address to my ex. Later I learned about women's shelters and data protection, but yeah, I was pretty dumb back then. It just happened that I applied to a small hotel in the village. The owners, my boss, and her husband are just amazing. If they ever need it, I would give my kidney to them. I just love them. My boss is the kindest and most understanding person I've ever met. But back to the story. I just applied to be a dishwasher. My boss told me they didn't need more kitchen personnel. I don't know what happened to me at this moment, but I just broke down in tears and cried and cried. I thought she would be mad or something, because it's not very professional, but she just stood up without a word, went outside, and when she came back a few minutes later, she had tea and snacks with her. She sat down and handed me the tea and calmly asked if I want to talk about it. I don't know why, but I just talked and talked and talked over an hour. I told her everything. She said nothing and just listened the whole time. It felt amazing to just let everything out. When I finished, she said the most awesome words I've ever heard. Well, we don't need more kitchen personnel, but you could come in tomorrow and work 2 weeks with my husband at the front desk. If you prove yourself, you could start there. I never thought it was possible, but she explained to me that hotelier is not a registered job title, so everybody can open and/or work in a hotel. To make the story not longer than it already is, my first stay there was now over 8 years ago. I worked my off to repay her kindness, and it was more than worth it. My boss helped me through all the time. She allowed me to bring my child in when I had problems finding a babysitter, and paid me well even though I had no experience. She gave me days off so I can go to school, and I got my graduation after 2 years in evening school. After 5 years of work there, I got the admission to the final exam without vocational training. My boss promoted me to a front desk manager 2 years ago, and I got a pretty nice 45K salary. It's enough for me and my daughter to go on vacation twice a year and live a great life. Things were awesome. I never felt better in life until my ex-husband showed up one day at work. He found out where I went because my mother's friend told him by accident. Great. Now he was there at my work telling me how he missed me and how he is sorry for everything that happened, and he wants to be family again. I kicked him out. A few days gone by, and the police were at my door. My ex-husband called the police because of child abduction. It was complicated. Because of my youth, I've never thought about that when I made my plans. But he was, theoretically, in the rights to do so. He was the father after all, and I left with the child. But I had one point on my side. He never signed custody. So I had sole custody, and therefore it was no abduction. Things were settled with the police, and I was allowed to go home. I told my boss everything, and I saw in her head formed a plan. She asked me if I'd ever taken photos of the abuse, and luckily, I did. I documented everything, every single bruise and black eye. I had medical recordings for broken bones because he hit me with a chair until it broke, and a lot more. Another few days later, my boss got a call from my ex-husband asking for my number. She was more than happy to tell him he has to call back later because she is in a meeting, which was a lie. She told me and we agreed to give him my work cell phone number. It doesn't even take him 10 minutes after he had the number to blow up my phone with messages and calls. First, he was nice, talking about how he missed me all those years, but after a few messages, it was clear he was after the money I make. Beaching about how I had a good life now and left him all alone. Buh-huh. He never worked a day in his life and just used and abused the system to pay for his alcohol and glue addiction. I shit you not, he spends over 500 euros a month just on glue to sniff it. He cussed at me and called me a and even threatened to do harm to me and my child when I refused to take him back. With all these things in hand, my boss went to her longtime lawyer and asked him for advice. In the meantime, my ex-husband wanted to be settled in our hotel, for free of course, because I'm family after all. When I saw his name in the guest list, I was mad. I wanted to kick him out, but my boss told me not to. We have security cameras everywhere, and my boss wanted to make sure he is seen on it. I worked the front desk when he checked in, and I told him with a smile on my face to kindly F off and leave me alone. He always had a short fuse and hated when I talked back, so he was pissed and cussed at me. Still, my smile on my face, I just told him we are never going to be family and he is the worst person I've ever met. When he saw that I don't fear him anymore, he just hit me over the counter. I pressed my panic button and screamed. 2 of our cooks tackled him until the police arrived. They asked me if I wanted to press charges, and I of course said yes. My boss handed out complaint forms to all guests in the hotel, present or not in the incident, and asked them kindly to please note they were disturbed through the commotion and they get 15% off their room prices. Funny thing, nearly all guests handed them back and got their 15% off. So, as I said, the hotel lawyer looked into everything and he managed to sue him twice, once on behalf of the hotel and second for myself. We had so much evidence that he had to pay for all the money the hotel lost for hitting me in the face with the cost of the lawyer, 2.5k, and he was not allowed near the hotel anymore. For my trial, the judge said normally claims for damages lapse after 3 years, broken bones, etc., but he took my particular situation into consideration, and I got 25k for damages to my body, as well as emotional damage and a restraining order. The best part is, the whole trial made the tax office and the social services looking into it and were more concerned with him. All funds he has evaded were charged him, which was about 23k. He got 3 years on probation and 500 hours of community service. Honestly, the money was not important for me, and even though he got what he deserved, in my opinion, I'm proud to get back on him, and at the same time, I'm still a bit sad. I blame a lot on me, because if I'd made things different when I was younger, I might never have ended up in this situation, but I'm glad everything turned out well. TLDR, ex-husband tracks me down 8 years after I left him and got my life right and wants my money. Calls the cops on me and hits me in the face on cam. He got charged over 50k to repay several people 500 hours of community service and got a restraining order. Edit, just to clarify the timeline a little better, when I ran away with my ex-husband, I was 16 years old. I was in the relationship with him for 6 years, and I left when I got pregnant. I was a bit over 22 years old then. Now I'm old, according to my daughter, with nearly 31 years. I guess the main takeaway from this story is don't run away from home. I remember considering it a few times when I was a teenager, although I don't think I was ever truly serious. It was more like I was mad at my parents in the moment. What about you guys? Have you ever considered running away from home? If so, why? And if you actually did run away from home, do you regret it? I'd love to hear your stories, so please consider sharing them in the comment section. If you want more where that came from, simply click on one of these boxes right here. And if you liked the video, I assume you did since you're still here, share it with your friends to see what they think. And of course, if you haven't already, click the kitty to subscribe and you'll never miss another video. I'll see you in the next episode of Reddit Chronicles.